If you are pets lover, make sure your pets are living a healthy life. Welcome to the world of wonder. Just imagine your beloved pet became your enemy. Yes, you heard me correctly. Here are some true stories reported of pets that ate their owners. Owning exotic pets is dangerous, and in many cases deadly. At best, the exotic animal may be living in the wrong habitat. In the worst cases, there are stories of exotic pets killing their owners and then eating their bodies. Burmese Python. Dan Brandon, 31 years old, from England, learned the hard way that it is actually possible to love someone to death when his 8-foot-long African rock python, ironically named Tiny, attacked him in August 2018. Brandon's mother found him unconscious on his bedroom floor with a snake, and, unfortunately, it was too late to save him. He had heard a loud noise from his son's room earlier that day, but assumed he had dropped something. Brandon was an experienced snake handler. Before the unfortunate tragedy, he never had problems with Tiny. The coroner concluded that he had died of constriction, and that the snake had coiled itself around his neck and probably stung his neck and squeezed him, possibly out of affection. Although Tiny didn't eat the man, there are many incidents reported that pythons devouring their victims. In June 2018, it is reported by Indonesian authorities that a 23-foot-long giant python killed a 54-year-old woman named Wataiba. While she tending to her garden, she had gone missing. Her sandals were found from her vegetable garden. The following days, the local residents killed the python as they found strangely bloated python snake to find out what was inside its stomach. The footage of villagers cutting the snake open and discovering Wataiba intact went viral, sparking widespread shock and horror across the internet. Even if snakes have feelings and don't want to eat you, a hug from an 8-foot python is just not a good idea. Gamble's Tiger. Cynthia Lee Gamble, an experienced tiger handler who lost her life unexpectedly in 2006 at the hands of one of her big cats. The remains of a 52-year-old woman were discovered in a wall of her property, where a 500-pound Bengal tiger had mauled her to death. Gamble. According to Pine County Sheriff Markman Savage, Joy had kept the lions for more than a decade without any problems. For their 14-year-old son, Garrett, it was as if the sliding door in the tiger's enclosure had been left open, and the animal pounced on her more or less without warning. The tragedy was completely unexpected, especially given Gamble's many years of experience with big cats with her own animals, even appearing on NBC's Today Show and the major motion movies Vertical Limit. Simply put, if anyone was fit to handle the lions, it was her. This unfortunate incident reminds us that no matter how accustomed the person is to interacting with wild animals, at the end of the day, they will still act on instinct. 9 wolf dogs. Sandra L. Piovison was extremely devoted to the 9 wolf dogs she spent 10 years of her life raising since they were cubs. That all changed in July 2006, when the 50-year-old woman's body was discovered at her home in Salem Township inside an enclosure where she kept the canine hybrids. Sandra's wolf dogs had turned on her and mauled her to death, an autopsy determined, and the coroner ruled multiple soft tissue injuries as her official cause of death. They may have been more wolf than dog, and had most likely become a pet amongst themselves, and she was not included. It sounds crazy that someone would keep a pet with wild DNA and not expect something like this to happen, but Piovison's 9 wolf dogs were just a handful of the thousands that are known to exist. There are also varying definitions of what a wolf dog even is. Some people argue that wolves and dogs are essentially the same animal since they are so genetically similar. Others think of them as a direct first-generation product of dogs mating with wolves. But there is an actual wolf dog breed which originated from dogs and wolves breeding, but goes back several generations. We do not breed wolves to dogs, explained John Davis, Vice President of the United States American Wolf Dog Association, who spoke with the Pittsburgh Post-Gazette. Following P.I. Ovison's death, we breed American wolf dogs to American wolf dogs. We raise dogs. Davis shunned any negative media coverage of Piovesen's death, pointing out that attacks are rare. Although the woman was not a member of the organization, her wolf dogs were not registered, and she did not have the necessary license from the Pennsylvania Game Commission to own the hybrids. Curiously, the agency knew Piovesen had the animals, but did not take action, because she did have state dog licenses, and it's difficult to prove whether Akonine is a dog or a wolf. Over the course of several decades, police visited the woman's house numerous times in response to complaints of noise and odors, but never charged her with any crimes. In the words of Westmoreland County Humane Officer Elaine Gower, she was pretty much on guard with me, because she knew that I knew that this wasn't a great situation out very badly for her. Pet camel humps woman to death. This story isn't about a woman eating, but it's weird enough to make the list. The palm weaver was an exotic pet and was given a camel to be its companion. The young camel was a gift from her husband on her 60th birthday. In the first 10 months, the animal had established a history of misbehavior and often attempted to surround other species of animals, such as the family's pet goat. Weaver was sexually approached by Camel while cooking in the kitchen. The camel then threw her to the ground and killed her with its hump. Her husband found her dead when he reached home in the evening. A camel expert surmised that young camels are not naturally aggressive, but can be considered somewhat dangerous when kept as pets. Terry Vance Garner's pigs. In 2012, Terry Vance Garner, a 69-year-old farmer, went outside to feed the pigs at his rural Coast County, Oregon, property and never returned. His family members found him dead and body parts in the pig's enclosure. Although the man's cause of death appears to be clear given the circumstances, prosecutors did not immediately rule out foul play or a medical emergency, such as a heart attack that caused him to collapse. They also wondered if Garner's pigs had intentionally knocked him over when he fed them, especially considering that one of the animals had shown aggression toward the farmer on at least one previous occasion. For all we know, it was a horrific accident, but it's so doggone weird that we have to look at all possibilities. District Attorney Paul Fraser told the press, while announcing plans to have a forensic anthropologist examine Garner's remains. Domestic pigs are typically non-aggressive, according to John Killy Farr, head of the Animal and Rangeland Sciences Department at Oregon State University. But there is some degree of danger associated with any animal. Moreover, Garner's pigs were much bigger than average, tipping the scales at over 700 pounds, begging the question of whether their size played a role in the tragedy. Marius L's pet hippo. After ignoring repeated warnings that his pet hippopotamus, Humphrey, was a dangerous wild animal who could never truly be tamed. Marius Ella, a South African farmer and army major, was found dead, submerged and mutilated in a river. His pet hippo had bitten him to death. The 40-year-old man had purchased Humphrey when he was just 5 months old, after he became too big for the family, who originally took him in after rescuing him from the very river his deceased owner was found in. Over the years that Humphrey spent on L's 400-acre farm, he became like a son to the man. The pair swam together, and there are even photos of L's fearlessly riding the 3-ton animal. But Humphrey was far from harmless. He had an established history of breaking out of his enclosure, chasing people and killing livestock. Even L's wife was uncomfortable with keeping a hippo as a pet. But this did not stop the man from doing what he wanted. There's a relationship between me and Humphrey, and that's what some people don't understand. L said months before his death, he thinks you can only have a relationship with cats, dogs, and domestic animals, but I have a relationship with the most dangerous animal. It is indeed true that hippos are responsible for more human deaths than lions, elephants, leopards, buffalo, and rhinos combined. Mind as it turns out, Els learned the hard way that he was no exception to this statistic, despite believing that he had a special connection with Humphrey. If you enjoyed this interesting video, please like, share, and subscribe our channel to get more interesting videos. Thanks for watching our video. See you in the next video.